Good morning, everybody. I've missed you all so much, but I'm very excited that we get to do all of this together, even if it is just online. I hope you all are excited to get started on our official NTI days and our official NTI packets. But I did want to come live to say hello to you all because I do miss each and every one of you all. Parents, for those of you all who do not know me, I am Emily Blankenship and I am one of the first grade teachers here at Deep Springs. So let's get started. Today is Monday, April 6th, 2020, and this will be our first day doing NTI officially. So if you follow along in the packets that we made you all, we are on Unit 5, Week 2, and this week we're going to be talking about things that are up in the air, which is perfect because that's what we've been talking about in science. So I'll be teaching you today and tomorrow for language arts, and then Miss Hedge will take over, but you'll also get to see Miss Hudson and Miss Norwood during this process too. So let's get started. Day 1. All right, so the question we're going to be talking about during this whole time is what can you see in the sky? And each one of you all should have some answers of things that you see up in the sky because we just talked about this in our science unit. So I'm going to give you a second and think about it. What are some things that you see up in the sky? I love all of your ideas and answers there. So here's our little opening video. I'm going to go ahead and play it, so go ahead and follow along and watch it so you know what our unit and week is going to look like.
Sky. What can you see in the sky? What do you see when you look up in the sky? Watch as the sky changes throughout the day. You'll see the sun rise in the east early in the morning. Sometimes the sky is filled with clouds. The wind moves the clouds and the sky changes. Sometimes there are so many clouds that they cover up the sun. At the end of the day, the sun sets in the west and the sky fades from bright to dark. Night comes. Then you can see the moon move across the sky. From day to day, the moon looks like it changes its shape. When it is perfectly round, we call it a full moon. What else can you discover in the sky?
Awesome, so I hope that gave you all some ideas of some things that you might see up in the sky. All right, so this is how Earth and Moon look from space. Super cool. How much of the moon can you actually see changes every day? So as you all are looking up in the sky and making some observations from home, at nighttime, I love right before you go to bed or even early in the morning to go outside and see if you can make some observations on how the moon looks. As you can see, throughout our month, it's going to change every single day. On a clear night, you can see hundreds of stars by just looking up at the sky, tons of them, and sometimes you can even see some planets. Telescopes help us see objects in the sky and learn even more about space. So as you see, this is one of the telescopes that NASA uses, and you can see even more up in space with this telescope. High-powered telescopes show us galaxies and stars from far, far away. All right, now we're moving into some of our new vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is the word observe, and you all have had this vocabulary word for a long time. We actually learned this vocabulary word back at the beginning of the year when we first were learning about Spruce the sea turtle and all the things that he was doing. We observed different animals and creatures in their habitats and the different attributes that they have. So make sure to try to dig back into your memory bank to remember this word, but we'll review it also. So to observe is to watch carefully. I can observe what the birds are doing in the bird bath. So right here they have a funny little emoji, if you can see it. It's little eyeballs peeking through. They're sitting there watching those birds in the bird bath and seeing what they are doing. Sitting at home, you can make some observations too. Maybe you can observe your mom and dad and see what they are doing. Maybe you can watch outside and see what kind of cars or birds or animals are flying by. Lots of things that you can sit and watch and make observations of. Another vocabulary word that we'll have this week is the word vast. Vast. When something is vast, it is very large and open. So it says, we sailed on the vast ocean. All right, the ocean is big and wide and open. That is why it is vast. Let's think for a second. What is something that you can think of that is vast? Now you can either write down some answers in your journals, or maybe if your mom or dad are watching with you, you can talk about it with them real quick. What is something that you know that is vast? Awesome. So this is a story about why the sun and moon are in the sky. I will read it really quickly. I'm actually going to step away from the camera and get a little closer to the microphone so you can hear it, because I know that these words are a little small for you all to read, but you should have them in your packet if you're following along. If you want to read it to mom and dad, or have mom and dad read it to you, this is a fine time to kind of pause the video and you all can do a little read aloud together. But I'll read it to you also. It says, long, long ago, the sun and moon lived on Earth and shared a home on top of a hill. From their home, they were able to observe a vast sea. Every morning and evening, the sun and moon left their home to visit their good friend, the sea and her family. The sea had a large family. Among her children were dolphins, whales, seals, and schools of fish. All these creatures called the sea Mother, and she never went anywhere without them. One morning, while the sun and moon were visiting the sea, they had the same idea. Dear friend, each morning and evening we will visit you, Sun said. Yes, added Moon, and now we would like to invite you to our home. Will you come visit? How very thoughtful of you for inviting me to your home, replied the sea. Of course I would like to visit you. However, I never go anywhere without all of my children, and I fear that your house is too small. The sun and moon looked up at their small house. They thought about how big the sea was and how many children she had. We shall build a new house, said Sun. Yes, said Moon. We will build a larger house so that you and all your children can visit us. So Sun and Moon built a very large house. Their new house was so huge that it covered the entire top of the hill. In fact, it was the most enormous house that the sun and moon had ever seen. As soon as their house was completed, the sun and moon went to the sea. Our new house is finished. We are certain it is large enough for you and all your children to visit us, said the sun. Please come visit us tomorrow, said the moon. The next day, Sea and her entire family arrived in the sun and the moon's new house. The sea asked, May we come in? The sun and moon replied, Yes, dear friend, do come in. So the sea flowed in with some of her children, including small fish, large fish, spotted fish, striped fish, and some beautiful creatures with shells. Soon, the floor was covered with nearly 2 feet of water. The sun and moon were standing on top of the table. As the sea kept flowing in with more and more creatures, she asked the sun and moon, Should we continue to come in? And the sun and moon replied, Yes, dear friend, do come in. The sun kept pouring in with more and more of her children. Sharks, stingrays, dolphins, seals, and a giant whale. Now the sea and her family flowed above the tables, and the sun and moon had to climb out on top of their roof. The sea kept asking, Should we continue to come in? The sun and moon did not wish to be rude, and they replied, Yes, dear friend, do come in. As the sea flowed in with more of her children, she filled the house to the ceiling. The sun and moon had nowhere else to climb. Their whole house was underwater, so they flew up into the sky, and there they have remained to this very day, watching over their good friends, the sea, and all of her children. How did you all like that story? I thought that was a really interesting way of talking about how the sun and moon ended up way up in the sky. Now, let's think for a second. Is that story fiction or is it nonfiction? You're right. It's not real. So it has to be fiction. Remember, fiction means fake. Nonfiction means not fake. So it's real. This one we know is fake because they all talked. The sun, the moon, the sea, all had voices and faces and talked like characters and people, but in reality, they aren't like not like real people. So we know that it has to be a fiction story. Next, we're going to talk about some rhyming. Words that rhyme have the same ending sounds. So like cat, bat, hat, rat. They all have that same ending sound. Let's continue. I can listen to the sounds in each of the words. So as we go through, you're going to listen to some of those ending sounds to see what rhymes. So bird, shirt, and hurt, they don't rhyme, right? Bird does not rhyme with shirt, and bird does not rhyme with hurt. But if you listen really carefully, shirt, hurt have that ert sound at the end, and they are rhyming words. All right, here are a few more. We have the words turn, torn, and earn. Listen to the ending sound. Turn, torn, and earn. In turn and earn, we do have the same ending sound, earn. But in orn, we have the O-R, orn, in the middle of it, which makes it not a rhyming word. Here are a few more. We have make, far, and scar. Far and scar are rhyming words. They have that A-R. If you're one of my friends, you know that song, the A-R, R-R-R, A-R, R-R-R. It has that ending A-R sound. But make does not have the A-R-R sound at the end, so it is not a rhyming word. Heard, chirp, third. Heard and third are rhyming words. They are. And we know that they are rhyming words because we hear the erd sound at the end of both of them. Third and heard. Now, if you look really carefully, you see that this has EA and this one has I. But sometimes they make similar sounds, and really it's that RD that connects them and makes them those rhyming words. But here with chirp, we have RP, and it makes a P at the sound instead of that D that you hear in the other two. So it is not a rhyming word. We're going to skip over a few of these just to continue on and move a little quicker. All right, if you look carefully, Mom and Dad, here are some sounds that we've been going over. If you don't mind to take a second and practice those sounds with your child, that would be fantastic. If not, you could also go to the phonics dance for Hunks and Chunks, and all of these will be practiced on the Hunks and Chunks dance. All right, so this week we are comparing a couple different sounds. We are comparing ER and IR, like in her, verb, and then shirt, bird. And then also we're going to have UR and OR, so in fur and turn, and worm and word. So if you look over here, they all kind of make a very similar sound, like like in shirt that we see. There are actually a couple videos that if you would like to go and watch them on YouTube, I highly recommend them. I will pull up the links and attach it to the bottom of this on our YouTube page or even maybe our Facebook page, just so you can go back and watch those videos as well. I don't want to play the whole video on here just for the sake of time, but it's something awesome that you all can use as a resource during this. All right, so our AR, we have words like part, farm, park, large, marching, smart, sharp, hard, started, restart, backyard, and artist. They all have that AR sound in it. Take a second and see if you can't read some of these sentences with your mom and dad or whoever is helping you at home. I'll see if I can get a little bit closer so you can see our sentences. If you need to pause it to where you can finish reading, that is totally fine. All right. This week for spelling words, I do want you to continue practicing spelling words. One, because you'll have a lot of it in your reading for your packet. But two, it is very important to keep up with those words because the more words that we learn and the more vocabulary we gain, the better readers we become. So our spelling words for this week are her, here's a girl, bird, fur, fern, dirt, work, barn, so this is some review from our AR a couple weeks ago, arm, climb, and through. So the dolphin is going through the hoop. Some of our high frequency words that we will be doing this week are another, climb, full, great, pour, through, leaped, and stretched. If you know your child is going to do fantastic on some of those other spelling words and you want to include these in their spelling word list, that would be awesome. Also, making flashcards for it would be fantastic too. All right, today what I want you to do, and you'll have it in your packet, is I want you to practice writing some of these high frequency words. But this is all for today that we're going to do with our slideshow. I will link some of those other YouTube videos that you can watch, and I will see you all back tomorrow. Have a great Monday. Bye.